If I pull up the instructions that I wrote for 4.1, which is install the tab planner and test 2D navigation, um, it's 4 pages long, and it is not literally probably would take me, on the outside 30 minutes to go through those instructions. So for me, now that you've clarified that the tab planner is the thing, I'm going to spend the few moments that I have now down into the hardware side of this, because I feel like the first half of this is about getting a software stack installed, and I think now that I've written the documentation, this is probably I literally think I could take Colin through this in 2 hours. And I just don't think that's a huge investment that, I'd need to go spend a whole bunch more time trying to make that a one-click operation. That's just my thinking. I want to now get down into, the hardware side, fabricate the steering angle sensor and, move from the virtual to the physical.
Okay.
It's also good if when somebody's installing this, rather than just hitting one button and have the entire thing installed for you, at some point you have to go through the steps to understand how you install something new. So the fact that you use your ROS install me script and then go back and do this tab planner step by step, that shows you the steps you have to go through to install anything. So that's also an advantage to that.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree.
So we won't gain too much by extending the ROS.me script to make that just a one install for everything.
Again, it is, if I had 30 minutes of time and where would I spend it, I personally would be now designing a 3D model of the angle sensor potentiometer holder, because I don't know how I'm going to install the angle sensor potentiometer holder. That is more important to me at the moment than a one-click ROS install.
Okay.
I mean, that's just how that's just literally how I'm prioritizing things. Unless you've got a potentiometer gear angle sensor holder in your back pocket and you want to say, oh, no, you don't have to spend any time on that. I got that.
No, I don't have the mechanical skills for that. The second question I had is the software that we run on the robot. If we can make our own software that we put on the robot, on the Teensy, I didn't know if it would make sense to kind of join up with the Lino robot so that we're all using the same base software on the robot. So we can all improve that base software. We can make our own. Like for the Lawntractor, I didn't use the Lino robot base software, but I was thinking about moving over to that.
So let's talk about that a second. For hardware on board the Lawntractor, I'm thinking it's an RPi and a Arduino compatible, let's just call it the Teensy. Is that your same? I mean, am I thinking the same way you are?
I've been pretty happy with that setup. It's pretty easy. You can flash the Teensy from the Pi, which you can do over-the-air updates, and there's a lot of I/O, and it's pretty inexpensive.
And so, based on previous conversations, and I mean, literally, I'm following you, right? So on previous conversations, I was thinking the RPi would be loaded with the Ubiquity ROS image.
Yes, I think that Lino Robot and that. So there's a couple different. We can keep working on the Ubiquity robot stack. Yeah, it's like, do we want to put our effort? Where do we want to put our effort? Do we want to make our own install or work with another community?
I'm ready to pick something.
Okay.
And I am malleable. I will go left, I'll go right. I'm interested in what you, up to this point, thinks is the best approach. So if you said install Ubiquity, bam, I'm installing Ubiquity. If you say Lino Robot, bam, I'm installing Lino Robot. Ubiquity seems to have worked for me in the testing, that I've done so far.
Yeah, it's a nice package, easy to install, and it has a lot of the software already built in there.
But you've mentioned Lino Robots 3 times. Do you want to use Lino Robot instead of Ubiquity?
It's just that base software, the base robot software. We all have to have that. It's basically you just read the encoders, come up with the speed, be able to drive all of the kind of the code that runs on the Teensy. Some of it runs on the Pi, but.
So you're saying the code for the Teensy would be the Lino robots, and the Arduino or the Raspberry Pi doesn't have to be Lino robots. That's, I think, what you're saying there. So you run Ubiquity software on your Raspberry Pi and run the Teensy Lino robot code, and the two should work together.
Yeah, that should work. It's just trying to standardize on that. I know that we're all going to have different like encoders and different setup, but if we use kind of the base robot software, we can work to improve that. And go ahead.
Is the Lino robot code for the Teensy, is that based on ROS serial, or is that based on something else?
ROS serial.
So it has the basic structure there to connect the two together, and then it's up to you. If you have encoders, you have to make sure you have the right encoder code put into your Teensy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in the case like your tractor where you've got a potentiometer on the steering, that's probably not the way Lino robots are doing it, but maybe they have. I haven't looked at it to see what they can do there.
Exactly, Jeff. So what's kind of interesting about that Lino robot is when you do the install, you tell it what sensors you have and what model of robot. So if you have a differential drive robot, you can still use the base software. You just, when you do the install, you say what type of robot you have. And you tell it what type of sensors. So there would be some work to extend the Lino robot to include whatever sensors we use. For example, a GPS, that's not part of the Lino robot.
Well, also on that point, the GPS probably is going to go into your Raspberry Pi, not into the Teensy. So just a minor point there that you're mixing these things again, and Al's going to get confused again. So,
and we know how easy that is.
Al, come on. Some of the advantages of using Lino Robot or some other base software group is that as they move to ROS 2, we'll pick up those advantages. Because we're all working on the same base software together. But if it's too much different or too far out or doesn't work for us, then we can maintain our own code base. The more people we have working on the code base, the faster it'll get better.
And just to sum up what we just talked about here, if you're running Liner robot code on the Raspberry Pi or you're running Ubiquiti code on the Raspberry Pi, as long as you have a ROS serial node running on that, then it will talk to this Teensy, which is running ROS serial. So basically, that's where the trade-off is, or that's what you have to switch on the code. So either one of the packages running on Raspberry Pi should work as long as they have the ROS serial node. You start that up, and then it talks to your low-level controller, which could be a Teensy or an Arduino or whatever you want, as long as it's running ROS serial. So you should be able to go either way there.
Cool. Matt, anything else you want to talk about as far as the process goes? And I just put these two things in there as placeholders. I'll try to think about organizing this stuff a little bit better, but anything else you want to talk about on the process?
That's good.
A logical diagram of how we see these things fitting together might be in order. I don't know if I have I was going to pull up a picture of my setup showing the RPi and the Verizon MiFi internet thing, and the physical. At some point you probably want to also talk about, well, what's the physical box look like that all this stuff is fitting in, and how does it all work? But did you want to have that conversation now or save that for another day?
It may be, maybe different. Jeff's hardware box may be different than the Lawntractor. That may, but the same software signals are going to be, those are going to be common.
I would say for the moment in your development, as long as you're willing to just bolt it down to a piece of plywood or a piece of plastic, bolt all your things down just so they don't move around on you. That's going to be the quickest way to get it put together and get it going. And then once you decide, once you get further along, what parts you're actually going to have, then you can commit it to a box at that point. And I know Matt I don't think he even had his hooked to a board. It was kind of all sprawled out across the top of his tractor there. So, but I would suggest you at least screw it down to something so your pieces don't move around on you, and your connections would be a little better that way too.
I gotta update you guys with new pictures. It's in a waterproof box with Deutsch connectors now.
Sounds impressive.
Well, I don't know. Take a picture and then.
Well, I'm going to run up to the mailroom and get my package that just came in. I think it should have my motor that I'm attempt to use for my steering. So I'll go grab that and be right back.
Tech demo.
I was just looking to see. I posted a picture of my control board. Just seeing if it's still there. Hold on, I gotta put you on mute for a second.
Yep. It's the great unboxing. Yeah, put that on your YouTube channel, Jeff.
Yeah, I hate it when they do unboxing videos. That's the dumbest thing I've seen.
There's a lot of them.
I know. That's what makes it so annoying.
It's like watching someone else open their Christmas present. Look at that.
So there's what it looks like. It doesn't turn as well as I thought it would. It doesn't turn at all. Oh, I'm gonna have to run that back and forth a few times because it's really tight on there. But anyway, I think they said there's like 9 inches of travel I can get. And what I'm thinking about doing just on the back here, put a like an aluminum angle with just a bolt sticking out like that, so it can pivot like this. And then on the other end, either put, I could just put an aluminum angle there with a bolt sticking out, so again it can pivot on that. So at one end connects to my steering, the other end just connects to the frame somewhere. Or I could if I run this down here like this, I can put a pipe over it or something to make it more like an actual linear actuator. So that's what I'll try out. And I put the thing back together last night, so it's sitting. It should be able to sit on a table, and I was noticing that the thing's not wide enough to really get a linear actuator going across the frame. So I'll probably put this one underneath, and up front I'll have the run an arm out parallel, or run an arm that's say in line with the actual axle, so I can push back and forth from the. So I can mount this in the back of the vehicle somewhere, and then in the front this connects to the arm and turns it. So I think maybe I'm going to try that and see what that does. And I'd like to compare this against my other one, but it's over at the makerspace right now, so I can't show it to you. So really concerns me. I can't turn this up. Oh, there. There, I can get it off now, I think. So it's going to be a nice tight fit, but it goes about that far, and then I'm going to have to really crank on it. So I might have to really crank on that a while to get it together and start to come out the other end now. So maybe a little grease would help it out, and maybe just running it back and forth is what's going to take to get it to go. So anyway, that's.
What was the speed on that?
I think they said it would go like 4 seconds for the entire travel at 24 volts. And if I only need about that much room, then it should be faster than 4 seconds. So
Nice.
So we'll see how it works out. If you go to their website where you order these, they've got a little video. They actually show it running. They've got it bolted to a board. They say, here it is on 12 volts, and he puts his finger on it and runs it back. It looks like it goes about this fast at 12 volts. So we'll find out what it does. So and the biggest question is, does it generate enough force to turn the thing? So that's going to be the trick. So that's my toys that I just got. I also want to try that other linear actuator I have. That's a commercial one that's got the built-in potentiometer. I think it's too slow to work, but that would be nice to have the feedback built right into it, so I don't have to monkey around with that. So there's a couple of different things I want to try on that when I Again, so hopefully this weekend I'll get to the point where I can decide what parts I'm going to actually use and start on my metal frame as opposed to my wooden frame that I started with. Hey, you've already got a board with stuff bolted down to it. Speaking of your $40 a month, what kind of plan does it take? What do you have to do to get that set up? So I've got one of those jetpacks laying around with no SIM card in it. What does it take to get that to work? You're on mute. Still not working.
No, I had muted my USB speakerphone, sorry.
No, I can hear you.
What does it take? I walked into a Verizon office and I walked out with this, so it was painless, just a credit card and an hour of my time.
So you just say it's just an ongoing payment, so every month it just charges your card?
Yeah, that's the downside.
Okay.
Costs money.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll fight through, well, how do I talk to this thing? And that's when I got into the whole VPN thing, and you bang your head against the door and say, hey, I can get a static IP address on this, and it only costs me $500. Or you can find a VPN solution that is clever enough to avoid that. And so that's the route that I went. Is a commercial or a retail grade MiFi that gives me Wi-Fi access and then VPN into it. So I was previously thinking one of these Pololu drivers was going to be my steering control, but I'm going to, now have to put a teensy over here that drives the motor controller that drives, my 12 volt motor. So that's my configuration on a board. It's not actually even a board. It's what's the styrofoam stuff? It's a styrofoam
foam core board.
Foam core. There you go. Yeah, that's what that is. But then I'm all UPS or USB. The biggest thing in the center of this is a USB powered hub. And still the Tinkerforge IMU until we figure out what we're doing there. And then I'm a RTK with ComNav equipment at the moment, waiting for you guys to tell me what is the better going forward RTK solution.
Well, if that one works, that's the one I would go with. You have it, and from what I've read, it does indeed work.
Yeah.
Well, back to the cell modem. I've got the Verizon Jetpack with no SIM card, so I need to get a SIM card. I just want to get an internet connection. I don't need VPN. I'm just trying to get my correction data from the internet. So I say go out to this website and give me the data. And right now I'm not worried about VPN. So, and I could probably just, as I say, walk into a Verizon store and say, give me a card and set up my account, and then I guess I'd be set up to go.
Yep.
And the other option is I've been thinking about switching over. I've got a crappy cell phone that I just let run out, and I'm thinking about getting the $30 a month. I can't think what the company is, but they claim it's unlimited data, but after like 1 gigabyte, they slow down your data. And that's for $30 a month. I can get data on a cell phone that will give me a cell phone, and I can plug it in to do this. So I might just go that way. Because as I say, right now I just need to get an internet connection on my vehicle. So that might be what I would do.
The other thing that I wanted to mention, Matt, is I did, reach out to Christopher, as you know, trying to see if he would help us with the design of replacing. I'm waiting for this to come up. Bear with me. I don't know why that died. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Still? Matt, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, so I was this configuration, with the potentiometer and the gear here. I was thinking it would be, well, I either need to replicate what you've done or, do the next generation of solution for this angle sensing device, right?
Yep.
I haven't heard from him. Do you have an email address for him that you can share?
He says there. I saw him online. I haven't heard back.
So Jeff, what I did is I just tried to put some notes on what it might look like and see if he would, since he offered to do some 3D design work for us. I was going to try to take him up on that offer to 3D print something that would be not only this gear, but also the bracket that would hold the potentiometer and that gear. Because that's, between here and success, that's one of the steps between here and success.
Matt, did you happen to track down one of those 3-turn potentiometers that we were looking at, or are you still running your 10-turn on that?
I'm still running the 10-turn. I found another potentiometer I have, but it's only like 1 turn, so.
And what I ordered was this Spectral Model 553 that I found on eBay. Well, I said I refound on eBay because it's the same one that you found when you were searching, Jeff.
Okay. Matt, is that 10-turn one working out for you okay? Are you getting enough resolution out of that?
That's a good question. It appears to work, but I don't know I guess how well it controls to a path. Maybe that's where we would see the resolution problem. Is that reasonable?
And actually, either one will work. It's just that the 3-turn one will give you more resolution than the 10-turn one. So it's just it's a scale factor between the two. So whatever people want to use, you calibrate it and say this is what we need, and then it should either one should work.
So I'll be the guinea pig on the Spectral Model 533, which is a 3-turn. So that should be arriving soon. Anyway, Matt, if any help you can give me on getting in touch with Christopher would be useful.
Okay, I'll look into that.
And just a reminder, it's best to not post people's email addresses either on the chat or on Slack, and that way, if you're going to do it, send it privately if you come up with an email. And as I also find out, don't post your tracking info. don't show your tracking info. That's what reminded me of that kind of thing.
So personally, my next step is to well, I don't. It's 4.2 test drive the in software test drive the simulator with the gamepad, and then following on from that, still in software, try to test drive with GPS waypoints. And on, since you were talking about the Teensy earlier, any knockoff brand or any issues about knockoff versus original on Teensy?
I don't know. I was just buying them. I think it's like PJR or something. It's the manufacturer, and you can get them on eBay for around $22.
You can buy those either directly from the company, or I think both Amazon and eBay have the same thing. And as far as I know, there is not a knockoff of that. It's just, you just get that. That just is the board that you get. And is it the 3.2? Is that the one?
Yep.
That's what's on eBay. Oh, I'm sorry, on Amazon.
Because you have to be careful, because they have a 3.2, and they used to have a 3.1, but it's been replaced, and they have a 3.5 and a 3.6 and a 2.0. So keep in mind when you order it, it's the 3.2 that you want.
I did find a link to that software project.
I see that you posted that.
So I don't know if you want to look at that project as sort of, this is the long-term kind of vision, this of being able to package software to allow people to download. And so kind of the goal when we started is to come up with a software stack and hardware that people could use to drive a robot autonomously, get at least the base robot platform moving. And these guys have put together a package that you can install on different boards, like the Odroid or the Raspberry Pi or the DK1.
And so Matt, just to clarify, this goes on, I see companion computer, so is this driving the RPi or is it driving the Teensy?
So this is an example of a software project for autonomous vehicles. Now, they don't, this is actually running the APM, so it's a little bit different, but the idea of how they structured it, how they have the binaries to install on a Raspberry Pi, Pi Zero, all those different boards, and then you can see the configuration and all the different modules that they've added. So this one isn't exact, this is not exact what we could use, but if we could build towards it, I guess, as an example.
Got it. You said APN, so they're running, they're not running ROS.
There is a ROS bridge, but not. They are using. They're using the APM software. So this is, you know, in the future, we're going to have something like RViz or something to drive around and map and do all of that stuff. Some sort of control station. Some people use the APM control station. And then there's this ROS Mavlink. So Mavlink is the protocol that the APM uses, right?
Very familiar with it.
Yeah, right. So there is a ROS Mavlink bridge. So that allows you to use the control station from APM to control ROS robots. So, but this is sort of, obviously these guys, the APM is really mature in the sense it's been around for 10 years and a lot of people have put work into it.
Yeah, I see reference here to computer vision, video streaming, and vision landing. So the whole video part of this would be wonderful for somebody to work out how to package all of that up too.
Yeah, and they install the Cloud9 IDE. So when you install this software, it's the full development stack also. It's kind of it, but this is maybe this is a moonshot kind of right now in the sense of putting this all together. This is one idea of how somebody put all the software together.
Yet another platform.
Yep. We'll get to that part once we get them driving around.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through their installation. They actually have NVIDIA. I mean, they've got instructions for a number of different platforms, right?
Yep.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, I think we're okay, like to drive around with the GPS with the Raspberry Pi. It has plenty enough power. Anytime you want to start doing like vision processing or running machine learning algorithms on vision data, we could need a bigger processor. So we're computationally constrained.
Yeah, my Verizon account manager would say, just move your processing to
Cloud.
their edge computing platform. So where Verizon wants to go is they want all of that processing being done effectively on the cell tower. So
wow.
get it off your device and get it onto their cloud, and it'll all be close enough that the latency will be basically not an issue.
They're putting processing power on cell towers for that purpose?
That's where they're going.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where they're going. But then the Amazon guys were in here, and if you see their data center footprint and the latency that you're getting on their stuff, it's just like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't you just do it at Amazon? So long term, that's a whole nother platform to consider. But it all starts with
baby steps. Baby steps.
Having something that actually works, and then you can improve from there. So, Jeff, anything else on your mind?
This is something else I got in the mail today. These are one of the reasons I placed motor. It's a high power LED. I think it's a 10-watt LED. When you're playing with these, you got to be real careful. You can blind yourself real quick if you're hooking it up on the bench. You look over at it. So they had them on sale for $1.95 a piece.
What's the input voltage?
It's something like 10 volts or something. They got a bunch of LEDs. If you look inside, there's 9 LEDs in there. That's what those little bumps are. And I think they probably put them all in series. But they say I think the maximum current is like 1 amp you can put through it, and it puts out like 1,000 lumens. So like a 60-watt light bulb's that's about 1,000 lumens from that. So it's, as I say, you got to be careful when you're playing with them, because you look over and no, you can't see for 2 minutes because
it's the size of your fingernail.
Basically, yeah.
Is that going to be headlights for your robot?
It could be. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I ordered some smaller ones used for turn signals and brake lights, so I was going to put all kinds of stuff on it. And,
You are too cool. That's too awesome.
which actually, I got one this same size. It's an RGB, and I was going to mount that one. I was going to put a some kind of a dome on top of it. Maybe use hot glue. The translucency of hot glue works really well to disperse light. So I was going to make a beacon. So I'm just going to have a thing sitting on top, like. Here, we'll pretend this is the beacon. I can even light up my Mountain Dew by doing that. So that way I can control it from whatever controller I got. And I got the 3 different colors, so I can make it flash and fade between colors or whatever I want. So that's just something else I can add on. So I got my beacon to tell me what kind of mode the thing's in.
So do you just build like a mound of hot glue, like a dome?
What I was thinking about doing is get a little plastic container, and I don't know if I can get the hot glue hot and pour it in without melting the container, but I'm going to try that and see what that does. And
that would be a pretty cool beacon.
And otherwise, if you look at the LED night lights, the ones you put out in your yard, they got the little silvery domes and stuff in them. So it could be I could use something like that too to put over the top that would disperse the light in all directions. So, well, that's just more stuff to play with.
Jeff, where'd you get the LEDs from?
It's the same place I got the motor, and that's at MPJA, Marlon P. Jones and Associates. And they have this thing, once you sign up on their email list, once a week they send you the email specials. And that was, they're normally like $2.95, and they had them on sale for $1.95, I think is what they were. So it's mpja.com is where their stuff is.
mpja.com. Marlon P. Jones and Associates.
That's the one. And their deal is they have $6.95 shipping. So whether you buy one part or you get 10 motors like this, it's still going to cost you $6.95 for the shipping. So, and it came in like 2 or 3 days from Florida.
I'm trying to find something quickly. I went to a sporting event here in Pittsburgh for the hockey team called the Penguins, and they were giving away what effectively was a flashlight, but it was in a foam core, and you're supposed to wave it, and it was branded with their name. And I'm like, well, what's inside of this after I got it home? And it's basically white foam, and in the center it's hollow. At the bottom is a LED, and it had this like cellophane stuff going up through it. So what was happening is the LED at the bottom was illuminating the cellophane. The cellophane was carrying the luminance up, and then the whole thing was then lit up. I was thinking for your if you want low-cost blinky lights, it was literally free. You just had to pay, $175 for the ticket to get into the game.
Well, I'm guessing if you go to eBay and type in lightsaber, and I'm guessing that kind of stuff would show up.
Yeah, that was a good word to search on, because I searched on flashlight handouts at sporting events and didn't get anything. But yeah, you get the picture. LED lightsabers.
And around here we have these dollar stores, and they have all kinds of stuff like that. Depending which type of store you go into, they probably have. You can probably get those kind of things.
But what I thought was clever was, they had the low cost LED at the bottom, and then to make it a saber, they had this cellophane, and inside a hollow foam tube. Mm-hmm. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you. I got 2. one of them I cut in half, and I use when I walk the dogs at night to find, the little gifts that the dogs leave in the grass when we walk at night.
You could build a robot to do that for you.
What, walk the dog or pick up their poop?
Both. Both, I guess.
Little heat sensor on there.
Yeah, infrared camera. There you go. You'd get a signal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not finding it. I'll take a picture and show you.
And speaking of lights, the other thing I want to do is get one of these. You get these LED strips that are the addressable LEDs. So it just takes one bit on your processor, and you can run as many LEDs as you want. So I want to put a strip across the front and one across the back, and just hook it to like an Arduino or something, and then you can just go through and say set LED number 3 to this color. So I can say LED number 1 is my GPS, and I can have different colors telling it whether it has a signal, no signal at all, or whether it has a single point fix or a float fix or an RTK fix or whatever. So you can just assign each LED to whatever status you want, and then make up your own colors for it. So you just have one USB cable plugged into your big computer, and you just say, I got 20 LEDs. We'll set LED number 4 to this color, LED number 5 to that color. So you can just assign to different kinds of status in whatever your program is running. So that's handy too, because otherwise, you put these things on, if you don't know what your GPS is doing, you don't know what condition it's in, well, you got to fire up a computer or something and go dig through the code or dig through the screens to find out what it is. But if you just got an LED, it says, yep, the GPS is talking to it, and it's got a good fix, or we can see the fix is dropped out. And you could have another one that says, maybe for your IMU, some kind of information from that telling you how good of information. If it says, well, it detected as drifting, so that wouldn't turn red or something. So that's just another thing you can add on to your, just tack them on there so you can see at a glance what it's doing.
All systems go, then it looks like Kit.
Well, that's something else you can do. You can make them do anything you want at that point.
It's actually being serious, the visual controls. I was thinking I was focused on the wrong stuff. I'm worried about cross-track error and RTK accuracy. And, I gotta get with the lights thing. That's the lights. That's what you got to worry about.
Well, that's something you can just add on. You just stick the lights on there and plug the USB cable in, and just have a ROS node that says, assign this status to this LED, and away you go. So that'd be real handy, I think.
Yeah. Especially in debugging, that's a pretty good idea. You can see right off what all systems are good or what status they are.
In all seriousness, something like Wi-Fi strength would be useful too, because
so that case, you could even make it into a bar graph. So you can, if you're looking for field strength, the bar gets longer as you do that. So again, it's just however you want to program those lights to act, so it should work.
Adafruit, I actually have messed around with the programmable LEDs, and I found Adafruit both sells the LEDs and has done nice. They've got code and explanations, and they've done a nice job with that whole space.
Yeah, and I haven't decided if I'm going to have a separate board to run my LEDs and my beacon light, or if I put on that big board that's got 100 pins on it, I'll have to see if that'll drive the addressable LEDs directly. So I might try to put everything on one microcontroller, or end up with several little microcontrollers that do different things. So again, it's just a matter of playing around and see what I can make work.
So before I'll let you guys go. We're getting to the top of the hour. Matt, I think there are two, back to my milestone plan of needing to use a gamepad to drive the car model and stage. Ubiquiti has a package to do the translation of, gamepad to CMD_vel, and you also mentioned, was it Daniel Snyder, who also had gamepad to CMD Val package? What do you want to? What do you recommend?
So on the joystick path, you have the joy node, which listens to your joystick and then publishes on the joy topic. And then the one that we've been using is Teleop Twist Joy, and that listens to the joy topic and then publishes on the command velocity. So those two nodes work together. What Daniel Snyder has, since you have multiple things publishing to the command velocity, we need some way to prioritize the messages to say who's in control of your vehicle. And that's where that MUX comes in. Because you'll have the move base, which is your autonomous system, publishing to command velocity, and then you'll have your joystick publishing to command velocity. And what that MUX does is it allows you to say who has priority.
Yeah, I think you're at a level beyond me. I'm just trying to get the gamepad to feed into command velocity and choosing which software to do that with.
Mm-hmm. So you're familiar with the joy node?
Yes.
You're familiar with Teleop Twist? Joy?
Yeah, yes.
Those are the two nodes that you need.
In the long run, I would suggest picking your joystick node that has the dead man button on it. So you have to hold down one button when you move the joysticks around. Some of them don't do that. It's handy to have that, so if you accidentally bump the joystick, the thing doesn't move when you're not expecting it to. So you have to consciously hold down a button while you're running it. So depending on which packages you pick, they either have that or they don't.
And that's, Jeff I'm right there with you, brother. So in step number 2, to drive Turtle Sim with the gamepad, I'm gonna just try to page down. It was we needed to publish to Turtle1 dot command velocity. Bear with me. So we installed Kinetic Joy and we set command. Then we used Ubiquity Robots to subscribe to the joy topic and to output a twist message. So I'm at a practical level of, do you want to use the Ubiquity Robots joystick input package, or do you want to use something else to do this conversion from the joy topic to a twist message?
And the bottom line is any of them will work. If you have that one set up where it's ready to go right now, that should directly be able to drive your robot as opposed to just driving the simulator. So you could just follow those instructions right there, and that should give you what you need to run your lawnmower also.
Yeah, it looks good.
So you being our shepherd, are sanctioning that this is the software stack you want to use?
Lightly, yes.
And my lawyers were going to show up a little bit later and have you sign a document to say that's your document.
Yeah, it's neat that you've already had this working and you have instructions. So that's.
What do you think I've been doing, man?
You're the resident expert now.
I think I was just looking for confirmation that that's what you wanted to stick with, the Ubiquities deal.
It's nice.
Okay.
I think that already has the dead man built into it there.
Oh yeah, you may not recall, but I remember, very distinctly how much grief I took from you about figuring
you
out
got you got 10 buttons to push to figure out which button is your dead man.
what button was the dead man.
Just a minor point. I think some of the launch files let you change which button is your dead man. So that's something else to consider if you're picking a joystick program to see if it lets you reconfigure all these things. That might be something to look at. But as I say, if this is set up, if this is running your simulator, this should also drive your robot with no problem. So you've already got it written up and it already works. And if that's what you're loading on your system anyway, it probably makes sense to go ahead and use this.
Yeah, I think I need to figure out where the remapping. I don't know, Matt. I've got to run to at 1 o'clock, but if you can recall where that remapping is done, that would be helpful, or take me a few steps to try to figure out what has to change in order to.
It's in the launch file there. You can see it, the second line, remap from command velocity to terminal command velocity.
But for the red box robot, where am I remapping to?
You just delete that line. What it's looking, you can do a ROS topic list, and then when you have your simulator running, the red box simulator, and then you'll see that there's just a / command velocity.
Okay.
So you don't need to remap from command velocity to turtle 1, because we just have it's just listening to command velocity.
It's more standard then. Okay.
When we add the mux, then we'll want to use this remap function, but that will come later.
Okay. Just sign whatever my attorneys put in front of you. I'm going to let you guys go. I got to scoot. Wonderful talking to you. What's the temperature in Minneapolis, Jeff?
I don't recall. It's not too bad. It wasn't bitter. A couple days ago it was really bitterly cold, and sometime a few days ago it snowed. But it snowed enough that you could see it, but it just melted pretty quick. So that's just kind of what we expect around here.
Yeah. I'd be wearing shorts if I were in Texas. I was scraping frost off the windshield today. Yeah. Okay, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too.
Okay. See you later.